All right, so this is my third time recording this, so definitely stay with me here because I'm gonna kind of getting annoyed on my computer. But this is Light Skin Sand here, and today I'm doing a review type summary of the 7 Deadly Sins that I just finished. This anime is on Netflix, so you can go watch it on Netflix. It's pretty much gonna be on the top new releases for everybody because it's really blowing up. And what it is pretty much is, I'll give you a summary before I go into the characters, but pretty much I'll go scroll down to the plot for you guys too, so you can read that. But it's pretty much just a story of 7 deadly sins who got stronger than everybody, who needed to be outcast because of corruption in the kingdom. And yeah, they're blamed for killing the Grand Master of the Holy Knights, which they didn't do. You can tell by the first episode they didn't do it, like automatic. So that's pretty much all there is to the plot when it starts that you need to know. But I don't want to ruin it, a lot of it, because it gets really interesting. And there's going to be a season 2 announced, so don't worry, it doesn't end here. Yeah, I think it's going to be within the next year, but it's really, really, really good, and it leaves you with wanting more for sure. So here are the characters. First one is Meliodas, who's the captain of the 7 Deadly Sins. Now he's from the demon race, which we find out like 20 episodes in. He's a sin and wrath. He's really strong. He's pretty much just the go-to guy. He's pretty much the main. I don't know who's more the main character, Meliodas or Elizabeth, because they're kind of protagonists, because the way it works is she cries, he fights, she cries, he fights, she cries, she gets hurt, she cries, and yeah, that's pretty much it about them. Like, they're kind of one and the same because she falls in love with him. But yeah, it's really weird to see a character like this again. I really hate in animes characters like Elizabeth who just cry all the time. The only time she actually did something was when she healed people, like when she cries. Like, I guess that's okay, but they don't really need it as much as like you think. Like, maybe at the end, but people like King or honestly, a regular doctor would just be fine, because whenever they get hurt, they're just by themselves. Like, it's kind of weird how when they get hurt, like by a holy knight or something who's chasing them, the holy knight never captures them and just stays away. But yeah, we find out she's a goddess, and she can just heal people when she's sad at the end. So that's what she's pretty much good for. Now we have Hawk, who's just a pig comedian, and she's pretty much what she says she is to everybody else. She's the captain of the scraps order or whatever. That's like all she does is eat scraps and talk trash. She sits there and pretty much does nothing. She carries people away sometimes. That's really like good, I guess. I don't know. Like, she's a good character to have, but at the same time, she's almost like Elizabeth, like companion. She's really Meliodas', but she's more with Elizabeth all the time, carrying her away, or she carries Meliodas a couple times. But then we have the next sin, Bon, who's the sin of greed, and he's immortal. He's my favorite one, because when he was stuck in prison, he literally like does the coolest thing ever. He takes out all his like shards and knives and nails that he's stuck to in prison, just gets up, takes them out, heals up because he's immortal. He just heals up automatically. And this holy knight apprentice Jericho, who becomes a holy knight, she tries to use her magical powers to like knife this guy away, and he uses it to cut his beard that he's been growing in prison. So it's one of my favorite scenes. I wish I could show it, but it'd probably get copyrighted, and I don't want that. So yeah, I'll figure out how to do things like that later. For now, I'm just gonna like go over the little discussion board type things and do that like on Wikipedia and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a really interesting character, and the only one who's ever like scarred him that will stay there is Meliodas. So you know how strong Meliodas is to actually like hurt an immortal person and keep it there. The next person is King. He's the sin of sloth, and he's the fairy king, Harlequin, and he's pretty much in love with Deanne, and Deanne's in love with the king, or the captain Meliodas. So yeah, that's his issue. And they finally start like talk. They don't talk really in the end of the season 1, but she knows that he likes him now. So that was really cool to see finally, because he was super shy. But yeah, he's the most powerful one, I think, for sure. Meliodas and his demon power is pretty powerful, but King is like straight up pure magic wise. He's the strongest in my book. He can like use the sacred tree or whatever to make things happen, and he's like, when he gets like angry about somebody he's lost, or if somebody's hurting his friend. Like one time Deanne was getting hurt by his best friend actually. I won't tell you who he is because it's kind of a super huge spoiler, but yeah, his best friend is attacking Deanne, and King like literally puts a shield around her that's, first off, it heals people, and it's like invincible. It can't be touched. It's just pretty much his power. His power is pretty much to love, and that's what's really really interesting. But yeah, next one is Merlin, who's the sin of gluttony, who's pretty much, she's just a mage. We see her in the last couple episodes because she's with Arthur Pendragon, who's King Arthur, of course, and she's just traveling around with him. And I think she's more of a sin to bring to the next season. To like, she's the one who brings them and has them like have a reason to leave where they're from. And that's when she takes them to Camelot at the end of the season. But she's also the one who hits the captain 10 years ago and knocks him out. So that's another like little like thing that they did at the end to like bring people in for the season 2, because it's like he goes, "Oh, Merlin, I had to ask you about 10 years ago when you hit me." And she goes, "It's a long story." And then he goes, "Oh, we have a lot of time, so let's tell me." And then it just cuts away. But yeah, that's really, I just want to know why she hit him, because it's probably a good reason too, because she doesn't seem like she's evil at all. I think she did it to save him almost. I don't know, maybe he's turning into a demon or something, who knows, like, I have no idea. But yeah, I don't really know much about her. I know she's a mage and she's like really powerful. That's about it. She's like the most powerful mage there is. That's all I can really give you on that, because that's all she was in there for. But yeah, Deanne is a giant. She's a sin of envy, and she's pretty much in love with the captain. Has super strength because she's a giant, and I guess she was with King when she was younger, and they aged super slow. So she's like a kid for like decades and decades and like pretty much hundreds of years. She was a kid, so she'll be living for a long time. And I guess if Meliodas does that too, I think that's why she really likes him. If you think about it, like, he doesn't age really either. So I mean, I guess if he's a demon race, demons don't really age, so that's why he probably doesn't age. But yeah, King and Deanne were like in a cave for like decades, and you figure this out when this old man brings them medicine. Like, you first see this old man bringing them soup to Deanne, and then King's like, "Oh, don't trust humans," because that was his fairy. Fairies don't really trust humans, but they do now. But back in that day, they didn't. And then he comes back to save Deanne with medicine later on, and the old man goes, "Oh, it's been decades since I've seen you." And the king thought it's only been a couple of days, and that's when he realized the difference between humans and fairies, and apparently giants too, is that they don't live as long. So it's been hundreds of years, and he thought it's only been a couple of days, but it's been hundreds of years since he's been back to his fairy world. And that's when it really hits him in his nightmares, like he's been gone for hundreds of years. So he has to leave Deanne behind, and then like wipes her memory, so she doesn't get hurt that he never came back. But yeah, that's really, really bad, because he left his home and was just kicking it with Deanne for pretty much like hundreds of years and didn't even know it. So yeah, that brings me to the last sin, Gother, and he's a sin of lust. He's pretty much just a robot who has no. He's like who's that? He's like the Iron Giant, where this guy he doesn't know about anything human. He's just like sitting there, because I call him the Iron Giant because he has this armor that Merlin actually made for him that like suppresses his power or whatever. Yeah, he's just a really really like clueless guy, and yeah, that's pretty much all he does. But yeah, that brings me to my last point. There's only 6 sins so far, so that's another thing about the 7 deadly sins. Like, that I really want to see who the 7th sin is. Probably super powerful. I can't wait for it. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought of the show. I'll do an episode next on what the sins actually are, because I don't think a lot of people get it, and I think I got it down. But yeah, leave a comment, like, share with your friends, and thanks for watching for sure. Have a nice day.